Welcome back, everyone, to the Moderately Educated News Network. Today, me and my lovely co-host Stefan Jones will be discussing Biden's pardon of his son, Hunter Biden. What it means, is it good, is it bad? We'll discuss it here today, give you guys our takes, and without further ado, we can get right into it. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. What do you think that that Biden, that Hunter Biden's irredeemable and should suffer in prison, or is like Joe Biden being a pretty base dad and looking out for his boy? So yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. Stefan, your opinions and or anything that you would like to share on the subject.
Yeah, so I think my argument's gonna surprise you a little bit, right? I'm gonna keep it very short, sweet, and simple. Um, as a dad, yeah, he was never letting his son go to prison, bro. Like that just wasn't gonna happen. As a father, I don't think I would either if I was put in that position, right? If you have a chance to save your child, then you take that chance. That's just human nature. You look out for your own. That being said, right? What does this say? It says that some people are above the law. This is something that we already knew. It's not necessarily anything that's a surprise. There are millionaires, billionaires who get away with things every single day. Look how long Diddy's been on the streets. You have Jeffrey Epstein and his whole list. Like people get away with just absolutely abominable things. And for this guy, it was, gun possession and what was the other thing, X?
Tax evasion.
Yeah, tax evasion. Bro, like, I mean, at the end of the day, right, it wasn't any sort of violent crime. Like, he didn't freaking go to Epstein's Island, as far as I know, anyway, and try to traffic little girls. He didn't try to kill anybody, crash out. Like, he just is a drug addict. He snorts cocaine. X said he does crack, but I mean, either way, he's on that coca, that cocaina, that white powder. That being said, yeah, bro, if it was my kid, I'm not letting my kid go to jail. Now, I wish Biden had been honest and been like, "Hey, yo, bro, that's my kid, bro. Like, I'm not letting him go to jail." So I don't appreciate bro for lying, but it's like, and that's why everybody's kind of upset on the left and right. But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, that's his son. You knew. So that's my take.
Yeah. I would say so. I think what part of what inspired the pardon because he did say that I would allow the justice system to carry it, to go its course, which I thought was very, very one bold of him, brave of him, and there are some things as a parent that like, hey, I love my child, and although I love you, I do think that you need to be. It is important to growth and whatever else that you can, cite, um, for you to experience consequences to your actions. So
Getting a
like.
cheap chicken in prison.
Yeah, I mean, hell, if you gotta go, I asked my parents one time, I was like, if I was to kill somebody, if I was like Ted Bundy type murderer, would you
That's
turn me
different.
in? And they're like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Um,
Hunter didn't murder anybody. That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
like
no, I get you. So, I mean, there are circumstances where you don't feel like maybe where you would turn in your child, and there are circumstances where you may feel like justice has served its course. And I think in Hunter's case, with just the amount of his personal life that got spilled out and the penance that he had to pay, I'm sure on the world stage in society, it may have been penance enough for one, but for two, I think Biden largely held that sentiment because at one point, for the tax evasion and gun charge, uh, Hunter accepted a plea deal where the I think he had six felony counts of things relating to his taxes, and then three misdemeanors also associated with his taxes. So nine charges related to taxes, and then as well as the gun charge. This was negotiated down to like two misdemeanor tax offenses, and then some deferred decision regarding the handgun, where if he stayed sober for I think 2 years and gave up his right to ever own a firearm again, then he would not be prosecuted on the gun charge. But due to, extenuating circumstances, and press and lies told in from certain informants and investigators and things of that nature in the FBI. This was this plea bargain was taken off the table. So initially, if I was gonna plead to two misdemeanors, yeah, I'd let the Justice Department take its course too. But the fact that he could be facing potentially decades in prison, um, is something where like I'd probably step in as a father too and be like, yeah, nah, it was cool at first, but you're overdoing it
Yeah,
with
like
this.
you ain't about to make an example out of my out of my son. And then all the things, the dangers of him just being who he is, going into the prison system, like they would have to put bro in his own separate like little personal area because he'd have to go in isolation because no, you're the freaking president's son or former president's son, wherever he would have been sentenced or whatever. It's like, bro, you're getting raped, stabbed, killed. You, bro,
No,
nah, bro.
there are levels to the prison system, and yeah, would he survive in in San Quentin amongst Gen Pop? Probably not.
He
Uh,
don't need to be in any gen pop, bro.
he
He need to be
probably
in celebrity
that's
prison.
not
He
entirely
needs
true. That's and again, we could talk prison reform a little bit. That's why you probably shouldn't put people that evade taxes with violent offenders.
agreed.
But yeah, no, largely he could be fine. He could just go off to some cushy prison, sit in a cell with a TV and some slides, and just spend the the a good majority of his life just eating Doritos and bagging commissary. So
Nah, bro. The other inmates said, but like, hey, your dad got connections, nigga. Have your dad get me out of prison, shorten my sentence. Like,
yeah,
bro, like
yeah,
I just see it going so quick. It'd be like a TV show. I honestly would want to see him recorded. Like, if you ever seen like I think like 60 Days In or whatever that show is, where regular people go to prison. Like this, I just want to see it, bro. I just want to see something happen. That's
yeah. I'm sure prisons have some sort of some policies for high profile individuals and how they handle them, but nah, man, he'll be all right. Yeah.
Epstein got killed in prison. We know he ain't committing no suicide, bro.
Mm. Yeah, I couldn't speak on that bad boy, but nah, man. Yeah, Biden lied. I supposedly. Um, I think he had a decent reason for for rebuking his word. Not to mention, I think those charges against Hunter were like felonious. They were goofy as hell. In the Fifth Circuit Court, so Texas, Louisiana, and I think somewhere else, the Fifth Circuit Court that has jurisdiction in these areas, lying on a DD 214 isn't even a crime. It just so happens to be a crime in the Third Circuit that encompasses Delaware, where he purchased a firearm that he owned for 11 days. So I don't know. I don't think it was warranting of a criminal case. I do feel like this was such a stretch and leap to persecute him. I would classify this as damn near a witch hunt, in my opinion.
A witch hunt by a Democratic DOJ?
Not necessarily, no. Because a lot of the judges and special counsel and people that were in is it the Committee of Government Integrity, or I forget the name of the committee, but he largely came in contact with Trump appointed special counsels and judges. Um, so no, and I think there's a unique instance where the Democrats largely don't want to appear as weaponizing the DOJ and make it appear like justice is still being served, and we will prosecute our own because we're a party of like we're the party of law, right and wrong, and we stand on business. Um, so I do yeah, I feel largely that the things that like this was over I forget the special counsel's name, but this was an overextent on his part for sure.
Yeah. Well,
I think real quick that so on that form of the applicants in like 2024, 100,000, a little over 100,000 people got denied um because of answers submitted on that form, whether they were an immigrant, a citizen, a felony holder and did drugs or were actively using. Those are like the four questions they ask, and 100,000 people were denied based off answers given. And then 12,000 people of that 100,000 were found to have, falsely filled out that form. And of that 12,000 that were investigated and later found to have lied, 12 people have been prosecuted. And he is amongst this select population that makes up 0.1% of individuals that are investigated. That to me is a little crazy, especially and again for a weapon that he owned for 11 days is
Hey, hey, it don't matter about the time if you did the crime. Nah, all jokes aside, it's like, bro, at the end of the day, right? Political prosecutions and witch hunts and so on and so forth, it honestly, you're not gonna like that I said this, but as far as witch hunts, bro, they witch hunted the crap out of freaking Trump, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. His whole life, no criminal record. Man tries to run for president again. You mean to tell me if after the first term, bro never tries to run again, that he would have been prosecuted? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself.
um
Do
yeah,
you think they
so
would have tried
he
him?
he
No.
guaranteed would have been prosecuted for the events of January 6th. He guaranteed would have been prosecuted for Mar-a-Lago and his obstruction of justice there. In terms of I would probably tend to agree with you that like fraudulent business records and Stormy Daniels is I think they said the reason they didn't charge him with that is because it was past the statute of limitations. Yeah, you probably don't need to go back that far and like that I'll give yeah. But largely Trump engages in conduct that is well, criminal. So I don't think that a majority of his felony cases, his Georgia RICO case, his attempt to defraud the American people, his obstruction of justice cases those are very much prosecutable. Well, they were at one point, were very much prosecutable, and he deserves to see his day in court. Unfortunately, he never will. But no, absolutely. This pales in comparison. Sorry.
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying it's the same thing because Trump has the
No,
most,
yes, no.
power in the land. He was literally the president. I get it. Cool. But what I'm saying is, bro, it's like, well, yeah, you already ventured to say that some things, even you agree, some things were a witch hunt or a little bit much, um,
But
which
the most
is
important
pretty
shit,
cool of you to be honest on. But yeah, bro, it's just some people are above the law, bro. It is what it is. I mean,
no,
I don't know what
no,
else to tell you,
no,
brother.
they're not.
If you have a lot of money, you can be above the law. That's what it looked like, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. If you have money, status, or power, you can be above the law. That's what it looked like. I want to see everybody on
Hey,
this Epstein and Diddy list, bro. Once that come out, because Elon talking about, bro, that's we gonna put that out. Trump administration gonna put that out. Once that come out, bro, we gonna see who above the law, bro. We
yeah,
gonna see
true. No, I
traffickers
yeah.
and predators, bro. They gotta
You
go, all of them.
you can get yeah, I suppose that you can get, you can get favorable sentencing. You can get like largely because of money, connections with high-end lawyers and these firms that have a large
And
amount of power
judges.
behind them and judges, sure too. Yeah, that would rule like in your favor. But largely, I mean, yeah, I mean, Trump has managed to evade every criminal suit sent his way. Um, and
But you seen Young Thug? You seen that trial?
I'm not interested in Young Thug. I don't follow those people, but
That's no, the trial is like that crap was funny, bro. But it
actually,
is
I
crazy.
lied. I did see some clips about that where like they would play his music and say like
Right.
goofy stuff, and he'd be like, "Bro, I can't read," and I might
No,
mess
that
that up.
wasn't a Young Thug. That was basically one of the key witnesses that I
That was
can't
funny.
read.
That was
That's
funny.
how do you spell it?
But nah, I
That
mean,
was crazy.
I think just the sheer attempt that we did attempt, at some point we did attempt to prosecute Trump demonstrates that like even presidents aren't above the law to some degree, especially now with an immunity ruling on presidential conduct, which I think is beyond absurd. But even then, like the highest power in the land is still subject to its rules, laws, and the Constitution. So, unfortunately, we don't see sentencing, but hopefully the court of public opinion will one day, because it hasn't for this election, but will one day expose and show Donald Trump for what he was.
It hasn't for this election, but he won the popular vote. Isn't that the
Yeah,
sort
that's what
of
I'm
public
saying. It
opinion?
hasn't they haven't we haven't swung that direction yet. I've talked to numerous Trump voters that weren't aware of the conduct that occurred on January 6th. And sad to say, I found that largely I laid out kind of some of the facts. They said, I don't think that would influence my vote. I think that's kind of I think that's sickening in my opinion, but it is what it is.
Well,
But I
over
think
half the country disagrees with you, brother, and that's
Um,
okay.
no,
That's why this is a fair.
I think that they're largely unaware of what transpired that day, specifically January 6th. So hey, it's cool. It's hard to change people's minds, and I understand. But yeah, hopefully we'll see the court of public opinion swing eventually. But in terms of like a prosecution, yeah, we're not gonna.
I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you can talk about unity, this and the other. As far as merit and result, I would venture to say that Trump is a better president than Biden, and that's all she
What?
wrote.
On what metric?
Oh, so let's talk about real wages, right? So real wages were up 8% under Trump and up only 1% under Biden. Inflation ballooned under Biden because legislation was passed that literally caused it to balloon, which he regretted calling it the Inflation Reduction Act, which he
Where he
verbally
could
came out and said, hold on, there were no wars anywhere in the world under Trump's presidency, bro. None. We were involved in nothing because nothing was going on. And now that he's become president again, some of these other countries like Iran, bro, they're like, hey, yo, bro, we want peace with the US. We chilling. All this bullcrap, bro. Like Russia now respects us again. Putin's like, oh yeah, that's a real man now. Like it, bro, you can literally see a giant shift in terms of globalism, in terms of what's happening in the world since this man won the election. And that's just factual. Like these are factual things that anybody can go look up. Go look up Iran and what happened after the election. Go look up Hezbollah and Israel and all these people trying to, oh bro, we're trying to have ceasefires and you know, come to terms and
that Biden
why y'all want world
negotiated?
peace now?
That
What?
Biden negotiated? You understand
Brother,
he's still president,
brother,
right?
brother, I understand, but the shift happened after the election results. It's just like when people say Biden is or when people talk about the vaccine, right? And they're like, what is my thought right now? Basically, well, no. I mean, you kind of got to give Trump credit for the vaccine development, but I guess implementation you could throw on Biden. But, anyways, I had a point. It kind of got disconnected. But the point is that we had world peace. We had low gas prices. Food was affordable. Housing was affordable. And now all that stuff has quintupled, which I understand is partially because of the pandemic in the world. I understand partially, not fully. That being said, legislation that gets passed also matters, brother. We didn't need the second round of stimmies, third round of stimmies. That crap wasn't necessary. You even yourself said you wanted the economy to fail. I think the economy would have been perfectly fine after that first round of stimmies that Trump signed, that 1.9 trillion or whatever. And that second 2.1 that Biden signed, we didn't need that crap, bro. Inflation Reduction Act, we didn't need that. Just, I'm sorry. Balloon inflation.
Why would you not why would you not attack inflation? You just stated it was
Hold
an
on.
issue. Why would you not attack it?
Bro, the inflation, Biden has literally said the Inflation Reduction Act caused inflation to balloon. Why?
This motherfucker had to. Okay. I yeah, you're gonna have to show me a quote on that because that
Oh,
brought in
sir.
so much government that brought in money to the government, which is like anti-inflationary. Like reducing deficit spending is anti-inflationary. Like that, like the like surpluses are anti-inflationary. I don't I fail to see the connection there. Um for sure. So yeah, if you could show me something that demonstrates that, I'd be interested. But but
Sure.
anyway, while you're pulling that up, I would say Biden was overall more successful president just in terms of the number of bipartisan bills he passed, getting Congress to work together to move America forward is largely like beneficial. I think getting Congress to work together is instrumental because writing laws, solidifying them in our laws is like essential. Executive orders can only do so much, and largely they can, they can be repealed, reversed, they can be or deemed illegal. Because of overstepping of powers. So I think just on that regard alone, I would classify Biden as a way better president than Trump, just because of his bipartisan nature and his ability to mobilize the government. You could talk about deficit spending. Then you could talk about I think the 4 dozen stock price jumps that record highs that we've seen over his presidency. Where's his credit for that, right? Like, come on. We're making progress on inflation because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Like, things are great. Things are going fine. Yeah. I wouldn't venture to say that Biden was a bad president by any stretch of the imagination.
You can say we're making progress on inflation because of the Inflation Reduction Act, but it actually quite literally failed to fully stop inflation from ballooning. I will share my screen now if you would allow me to do so.
You should.
Well, yeah, I have the ability. But man, it's just so interesting, right? Because let's go to a Google energycommerce.house.gov, meaning this is a government website. 1 year later, even President Biden admits the Inflation Reduction Act failed to lower costs for Americans. So here's the issue with inflation. Inflation isn't the biggest issue, right? It's the cost of goods. Just because inflation gets lowered, mother effer, if your cost of bread and eggs and chips and everything you buy goes up 40, 50%, it doesn't matter that now it's only increasing at a rate of 2% because compound interest is a thing and now it's unaffordable for you. So it's very unfortunate that, it hasn't made life more affordable. Once again, real wages under Trump up 8%, under
But
Biden, uno,
yeah,
one.
no, I hear you on that. But the problem is how do you propose that we get the price of goods down?
How?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, one way which you can do it is to
don't say drill.
give businesses, huh?
Don't say drill, baby drill. Please don't.
No, I understand we had the highest oil production under Biden. I'm aware. I get it. I get it. Me and Akel both said that Keystone Pipeline should have been open. But anyways, that being said, and I get your arguments about sludge, cool. But that being said, I believe giving businesses tax cuts and incentives to hire and build more and produce more in America. For example, take Tesla. Tesla is a very successful car company. They're beating out on their deliveries basically, and their actual production. It's like they're doing great and they're an American made company. They don't outsource from freaking anywhere, bro. Like their factories are here. They create jobs, and the Tesla car prices have decreased throughout the years. They haven't increased. So quite literally, if you give businesses incentives to create jobs here, to have the flow of production be steady, and then they can deliver reasonable prices because they're already getting tax cuts for creating jobs and building here, which is basically what Trump wants to do with the tariffs, right? It's like that's a way in which you can lower, the cost of goods in
Did
a
you say,
way.
I'm
But
sorry, did you say tariffs are gonna lower prices?
I said they have the ability to. I didn't say,
How?
brother, Trump had. Hold on. So here's two things you need to
No, no,
understand.
no, no, no. I don't want to talk about Trump right now. I want to talk about
No, I'm
I
not
want
gonna
to
I'm
talk
not gonna
about
talk
what
about
you
Trump
think
right
a
now.
tariff
Hold
is.
on. No, so a tariff is literally, let's say I have a company that's a US company, but I outsource and have production in China, right? Essentially any goods that are coming from China, or let's say who's a good example of this?
No, just say company A. Doesn't matter. Company A.
Nike. Can I say
Sure.
Nike?
Yep,
Or
because
are
they
they a
have
good example?
sweatshops. Yeah, we use that child labor.
That's not funny, bro.
That's hilarious. Put them little niggas to work.
It's kind of messed up, bro. But
It's
yeah, so hypothetically speaking, right, the goal of the tariffs is to discourage sweatshops and inhumane conditions on those people, but really to have more people having their companies and their, manufacturing and their production of their products in their home country, right? Which typically
I
I
don't think
understand. I
that.
understand that you're gonna say it would be more expensive because the labor is cheaper over there, but hold
Oh,
on.
you don't
But
say.
the incentive for that is the tax rate for said business being lowered from 22% to 15%, if and only if they actually produce their products here and create jobs for the American people here. That's at least how his plan was stated, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
I'm
that
rocking with that.
7% difference
Mm.
in the tax rate, in the corporate tax rate, you don't need to price gouge people or raise prices that much if you are getting a 7% bro. Let's say
But the
Nike, how
tariff's 25%.
brother, if you're over there, freaking bro, that's the point. You're literally making my point.
Okay, and now
So
you move it back
25%
here. How
still
much
won't matter.
capital investment do you think it takes to build a factory over here, to find labor, to pay people? I mean, not now you're paying them higher wages, but now you have to now you have to pay rent, American rent. Now you have to pay. Now we
In a
have like
factory, bro, these companies
additional
have the
like
money to do
regulations,
so.
like
But you're saving
emission
seven
standards.
percent on your corporate taxes, bro. Let's say your taxes are $1 billion, bro. What's 7% of $1 billion, X?
Fuck, what is that? Seven, what's a billion? Million?
I, th-
Seven
I think
million.
it's like 70 million.
Yeah.
You can't build a factory, pay rent, and pay people for $70 million if you made $1 billion. And a lot of these companies make way more than that. Way more, bro. Yes, bro.
Sure,
Look
you're
at
talking
Tesla.
about massive
Tesla.
companies, but
Oh,
how many
oh my
small
God.
mom and pop small businesses import things because they're cheaper. You're
You said
thinking
how
about
many?
like
I don't think a
conglomerates.
lot of mom and pop places. Well, they can outsource for like get
No,
some
I'm
outsource,
not
but
talking about outsource. I'm talking about the sourcing of their goods.
like getting their goods from a foreign. What small business is getting? Give me an example, because I'm not. It's not coming together for me. Like, give me an example of a small
So I don't
business
know, Sam's
that's
Club
getting.
buys shit made in China.
You
Somebody
said
else.
Sam's Club.
Yeah, and then some
I
other
was a manager at Sam's Club,
so,
fam. I
yeah,
can.
so you
I
gonna tell
can.
no, that's fine. So Sam's Club is buy something that's made in China and they receive a tariff, which they can absorb because they're such a large company. Then
Yeah,
you
Walmart.
have a local business, I don't know, maybe somebody that imports, I don't know, some exotic Chinese liquor and it's taxed. Like that affects the small business differently. And you start to venture into this idea of the
What small
utility of
business has exotic Chinese liquor? I don't.
because they sell bit they there's an example that pops up in my head. I couldn't give you an example of a mom and pop shop that buys something because I don't shop at small businesses very often. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So, I mean, I hear you, but I think it only, when you think about the utility of money and each dollar meaning less, yes, absolutely. Somebody that earns $100 billion or a billion doesn't mind if 70 million goes missing. Sure, that's probably the case. But um, to people that don't earn that much, that earn maybe millions or hundreds of thousands, the utility of their money is felt more. And so even though 7% is seemingly a lot, I don't have a it's offset. Like yeah, the utility of my dollar wouldn't stretch as far as somebody that has that. I'm not able to absorb penalties the way that larger businesses could.
So let me ask you this, right? If tariffs are so terrible, why did Biden reinstall Trump's tariffs?
Because he's a pro labor president that believes that we should protect American manufacturing jobs to a degree. So sometimes tariffs are appropriate, absolutely. But to the extent that Trump wishes to impose them, with the idea of bringing back manufacturing, I think is largely naive. You have like 3% unemployment right now. I don't know who he plans on giving those jobs to. You're going to pay more for American labor. And then for people that aren't bringing, for the massive companies that aren't going to bring, uh, manufacturing back to the States because they may not be able to make that capital investment because largely companies' net worth is is assets and not liquid funds that they can just manage to bring over. Their value is largely based off like accounts receivable, receivable accounts payable. It doesn't mean that Target has $100 billion because they're valued at that to invest in new properties here. You Target could be largely insolvent. I doubt that's the case that they are, but it's definitely possible. And so I don't think that's appropriate. Oh, it's 4.1 now. Okay, but it was 3%.
I got you.
So yeah, I don't know who would take those manufacturing jobs. I mean, I don't, especially with you kicking out a lot of illegals. So I don't see the yeah, I don't see how
I'm sure there's a
that
lot of
makes
black
sense.
men who will happily take those jobs. There's actually a lot of black men that are trying to go work for Tesla. Actually, heck, even one of my friends, he had a friend who had another friend, they're all black, basically get on at Tesla, it's just a manufacturing job, and they're making like 60K a year, with good benefits, so on and so forth. And bro, Tesla's a successful company. Their cars are actually reasonably priced for what you're getting.
Mhm.
Their cars don't depreciate. You're getting a great American made product. To say that other businesses couldn't do the same,
You're
it's
talking
like,
about
yes,
richest richest man in the world. You're talking about a company.
he's only the richest man in the world because so many people believe in invest in his company, bro. If
You're talking about again, the majority of companies are not Tesla. Intel isn't Tesla. You're talking. I mean, you're pulling out these. I mean, yes, you're more than likely Tesla will remain largely unaffected, and good for them. But a
buy
majority
the
of companies
stock,
are going to be
guys, buy the
very hurt.
stock.
So, I mean, I hear you, yeah,
So
and
so
I
so let
guess
me
by
ask you
some
this, right?
technicality, you're correct. But I wouldn't venture to say that that is overall like a positive thing.
But here's the thing, right? With the tax cut, right? Because here's the issue that we would have had with Kamala, right? Let's say because she wanted to raise the corporate tax rate. That in and of itself would bring increased inflation. The cost of goods would technically go higher.
Oh,
Because if a company, if the corporate tax rate went from, bro, prices went down when the corporate tax rate got lowered from 28% to 21. 21 is what Trump had it at, bro. For like 8 years, I believe. His legislation has passed, so on and so forth. Cool. But literally, when you have it go back to 28%, and then also she is going to increase like my taxes and your taxes, because anybody that made over 40K, bro, your taxes is about to go back up 3% if you didn't know that, if you're voting for Kamala. Uh, anyways, that being said, um, yeah, bro. If you go back up in the corporate tax rate, a lot of these companies, for margin purposes, right? They're either going to lay off people or the cost of goods is going to go higher. And neither of those are inherently good. But if you lower the tax rate, then you have more job creation, especially when it's incentivized for you to create the jobs here. That's the whole point. But it's like,
what
I
is
get it, bro. But realistically, when we had Trump's tariffs in his presidency, did prices go up significantly? Yay or nay? Did bro, what prices went up significantly? My gas
dude,
was
dude?
$1.80, bro.
Chicken wings went up so high during the fucking pandemic. What are you talking about?
I'm not talking
Everything
about
went
the
super high during the
pandemic when the
pandemic. Rent
supply
went
chain
up.
was
Rent
blown,
went up to a
bro.
ridiculous
Oh my
degree. It was
gosh,
almost predatory rent charged by certain landlords. Uh
brother,
yeah,
brother.
a
We're not.
lot
There
of
was a
goods.
rent moratorium. What are you talking about?
A
People
lot.
didn't even have to pay rent, bro. What are
Yeah,
you
yeah, but
talking about?
that doesn't mean that landlords didn't attempt to make the targeted
Yeah,
people
but they couldn't
predatory
evict
way
people
by
though.
increasing
They
rents.
couldn't evict people because there's a moratorium,
Yeah,
which makes some
absolutely.
landlords
Yeah,
go
the
out of
government had to
business and
step
stuff.
in. The
So,
government had to step in and do the but You gonna say that rent didn't rise during COVID?
Brother, I'm not gonna say that it didn't,
Oh,
but you're failing to
okay.
see that that's a whole freaking pandemic, bro. In the 3 years that this man was president,
Hey,
no pandemic. Brother, did them tariffs raise prices? The answer is no. Our money went further. Every racial group
what
financially had.
what does okay, yeah. Does does what causes inflation?
There's multiple things that can cause inflation.
Give me an example of one.
I would venture to say that having too much money circulating in the
Yep,
economy can
exactly.
cause
Exactly.
inflation because it
Okay.
devalues the dollar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you have more money circulating in an economy, the value of the dollar lessens, right? And so, by taking money out of the economy via the form of taxes, giving that to the government where they can, reinvest and do whatever the hell they do with it, that is inherently non-inflationary. Versus if the government injects stimulus, large amounts of it, if they start printing hella money, if they increase borrowing, if they leave large deficits, these are all things that, guess what? Increase the money supply. If they lessen taxes, it increases the money supply in an economy and is largely inflationary. So I don't agree with you with the fact that somehow the decreasing of taxes was non-inflationary. If anything, if I have more money in my pocket at the end of the day as a consumer, that's more to spend. That means higher prices that can be charged versus if I don't have it and there's less money in the economy, in the money supply, then I don't have the money to stretch. So therefore, guess what? Via supply and demand, market forces, those prices will have to decrease to find a reasonable standard that people can actually afford with less money in their pocket. I
But it's crazy because people are broker than ever and people are still spending copious amounts of money. Like that just
I
hasn't happened
I
yet.
don't I
It's
initially I kind
insane.
of thought that, but I don't know how much I feel about that. I don't know how much I agree with that anymore. I'll be honest with you.
Bro, there was an article that came out that literally says people are still spending money
Yeah.
and they're projecting that this Christmas is going to be like even bigger than last Christmas, but they're saying most Americans haven't even paid off the gifts they bought from last Christmas, bro. It was like a Forbes article that came out. Like that's
Okay.
crazy. That's kind of scary. Why like there's actually a good amount of people that have said you know what? Screw it. If I'm gonna be broke, I'm gonna be broke and enjoy my life. Like that's actually a decent subset of people because they feel they
Sure.
have no
Sure.
financial hope, which is
Sure.
kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
No, I give you
But
that.
because of that, the supply and demand, trend that typically occurs is just not happening, bro. People are still spending, 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 even though they don't have as much money. Their dollar doesn't go as far. It's crazy, honestly.
For sure. Well, we have a minute left. I'll allow you to, get us out of here.
Oh, for sure. Um, we started on like Hunter, right? Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So guys, if you think Hunter should be in jail, leave a comment, let us know. But if you were a father and that was your kid and you would have got him out, bro, just be like W dad in the chat, because that's what I would have done. That's what X would have done. That being said, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We had a great discussion here today for sure. Always getting different perspectives, guys, learning from each other. Always be open to knowledge and information. And that being said, guys, you take it easy. Have a blessed one and peace.
Deuces.